Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. Today, I have a great guest that has a lot going on in Pennsylvania, and I just want to be able to introduce him. He's the president of the ATV Traction Incorporated, his ATV club there, doing a lot of great things. Um, really just want to get things going. So, Mr. Phil Palmer, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Hello. How's it going?
Yeah, good, good. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with me today. I really do appreciate it.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem. Tell me, what is going on there in Pennsylvania? You're in Northwest Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I'm in Erie, so all the way up at the top by the lake.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
there's all kinds of fun stuff going on.
Okay. Um, Tell me about the club and what's going on.
Um, Club wise, we've got uh, Traction was started about 20 years ago.
Okay.
There's about 250 members. We've got four chapters. Three of the chapters have trails of our own. Um, our Bayview chapter, which is in our Mercer chapter, which is has our Bayview trails, that has about 10 miles of trails. Our Venango track chapter has 30 miles of trails, and our McCain chapter has right around 40, maybe 35 miles of trails, and then some, depending on what's surrounding there.
Okay. Now I understand you're mapping those out, right? You know, the some of them still.
Yes, the Bayview chapter I got to do a little bit more mapping on. We just mapped last year. I mapped the Venango and the McCain trails, and we're always learning in more trails and putting more trails in. And now we're actually working on the actual maps and getting some signage up and things figured out like that.
Awesome. So you guys been around for 20 years, and it sounds like you mentioned something when we last spoke about new members and new blood coming into the club. And
Yes, I joined in 2012, and at that time there was a lot of members that were kind of things were winding down. And after about that same time, there was quite a few others that joined that were young. And as we've been going, um, more and more younger new blood has come in, and it kind of resurges the club a little bit. It's tough to keep up with everything when there's only a small amount, and you can only get around so much.
right, right. And you have 250 members, right? Or
About 250 members. Yep.
that's awesome. That is great. Um, so, and you have a safety training program that you
Correct.
started or went through.
Correct. Yeah, it took us about 3 years to get our members trained. We have 12 ATV youth instructors, and so we can do kids and adults, but we
Mhm.
pretty much specialize in trying to get the younger kids trained. In Pennsylvania, anybody that is over 8 years old and under 16 requires to have training, and they're
Okay.
required to carry a training card with them.
Now, how does that work with like crossing roads? Like, you know, some states it's an issue with like being 16 years old and you can't even ride on an off-road or whatever. How does that work in Pennsylvania?
You can cross the road at a 90-degree. You cannot ride down the road. There are some ATV roads. On those ATV roads, they let you go there. But typically, especially a main highway, you can only cross it.
Okay. All right. Um, yeah, because I mean that can really get you bound up if the wrong person sees you doing it wrong and
Right.
such.
You know,
Um,
it all goes back to ride normal and don't be crazy, and you're usually all right.
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Um, so tell me, Phil, tell me a story about the funniest story, ATV story you can recall that makes you laugh even to this day.
Well, there's a lot of them, but one of the one of the ones that sticks out all the time is we were riding at the Allegheny Forest trails in the Timberline section, and a friend of mine decided he was going to cross through this huge pond, and it's kind of a horseshoe shape, and he makes it the first direction all the way around, and it's probably 50 yards. It's quite a good size water hole, and he gets all the way around and gets through it. And we're all hooting and hollering, and he decides he wants to go back through. And his wife's like, I wouldn't do that. And he's like, I can do it. Next thing you know, he gets about 20 feet in and sinks it, and it's gone. We couldn't get it going. We got it out, and we ended up driving back to Erie and getting a new machine for him for the weekend.
Oh, wow.
Once we got it home, we got it squared away. It was some simple stuff, but that was a pretty interesting moment.
The memories that we make.
That's it. It usually involves mud, water, or some kind of wreck.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's like famous last words of "I've got this." That's
Right.
when you know you have to bust out the camera.
That's it. And then you have to admit your wife was right.
Yeah, eating crow is never fun, and
No,
and they never let you forget it either.
no, never.
They're good about that.
That's it.
What's one of the best places you've ever ridden?
I rode in Vegas with Adrenaline ATV tours, and we rode out to the Valley of Fire out there, and that was probably one of the most coolest places I've been. I think we spent a half a day out there and rode in the desert. That's completely different than riding in northwestern Pennsylvania with wooded trails and mud,
Mhm.
stuff like that. But our club trails are pretty awesome compared to all the different places that we go. There's a lot of parks and things like that around us that we spend a lot of time at.
Right.
But I'd have to say that riding in the desert was probably the highlight.
That's cool because it's so different, than what we're used to and such. And
Right.
that's cool. Very cool. What are your club's goals in the upcoming season? Like, what do you guys want to get accomplished?
We're really trying to get some membership drive going. There's a lot of people that ride the trails that we maintain. Some of the areas the landowners actually open it up to the public. So we're trying to incorporate some help to help maintain them and bring in some revenue to help cover the costs of the trails and the signage and the gravel and all that. So we're really trying to sit down and get increase that membership to help maintain the trails and cover them. One of the other things that we're working on is getting some signage taken care of and get things a little bit easier to read and get the maps out, kind of an ongoing continuation, and push a lot of training, like really push a lot of training.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's the training, the sport is just growing so fast right now, and we need to make sure, we do it in a sustainable way. And one of those things is getting people trained and understanding, hey, this is what happens if you screw up, how much damage, your 15 minutes of not thinking straight can destroy years of work, literally. And
Absolutely.
and yeah, so really that's my whole goal, is to get that word out there to people so they can understand the importance of why there's certain rules in place. And a lot of it comes down to respect for landowners and so forth, and consideration and such. So that's cool. I really appreciate everything that you're doing down there. And then of course with the kids training, that's great. Just anything doing with kids and getting them to the sport and off their devices and out and about and so forth. That's just fantastic.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
What are some of the biggest challenges you see this next year, with what you stated?
I really think that the hardest thing is to get people involved. The core group, you have 250 members and you probably have really 20 at the end of the day. We have some really great volunteers and some great people that are on our board, and they're always involved and they're always doing something. And if you can just get some extra help, to take some pressure off the riding experience, and the landowners and stuff like that, they really see how much it really does for the club and for the sport, so to speak.
Right. I mean, I'm learning that the consensus is if just one person did one weekend a year, that would be just a monumental help.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
I mean,
Absolutely.
it's not like you're expected to volunteer every weekend or anything like that. But if you just did one weekend, and
Correct.
it's a
Correct.
small price to pay. Because I mean, let's face it, we spend tens of thousands of dollars for machines, and you spend maybe anywhere from $25 to $50 for a club membership. What's the weekend of your time? You're not really spending a whole lot.
Right.
Mhm.
And sometimes, I mean, we've had some of the most fun experiences on trail cleanup days. I mean, a lot of times, like we try to spend the morning cleaning up, then we'll eat lunch, and then we go ride. And that's where you really get to know some of the trails that people don't know about, and
Right.
some of the locals, and sometimes we end up on trail systems that aren't part of the club that adjoin our trails, and you learn some really awesome places to ride and just
Mm.
you have a lot of fun.
The camaraderie alone is worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
mean, just meeting great people. I mean, you just might see them on the trail, but you don't get to know them, passing by them or whatever. But when you get to work with them, that's awesome. That's really great.
It
Um,
really is.
now, do you see things? I mean, obviously, I'm sure things are really you have room kind of out there to expand um, over time as membership improves.
Yeah, we've got some landowners that allow us to create trails as we want, and stuff like that. We do have the opposite issue where there's some people that have gone in and cost us some areas and actually decreased the size and
Yeah.
in some of our spots. And that's a very hard fight, but we definitely have room to grow. Like I said, a lot of riders are actually already riding the trails, and getting them involved to help, maintain them and stuff
Mhm.
really would make a big difference.
Very cool. Um, what equipment do you ride right now?
I ride a 2018 Razor S1000
Okay.
and a Brute Force 750. So
Mhm.
between that and the Razor and the quad, that's the fun part. My wife rides a 2015 Rubicon 500 that she just loves, and I keep offering to get her a new machine every year, and she's like, "Nope, I want this thing."
Oh, hey, if she loves it, and that's what it really comes down to. It's like the piece of equipment that you really love, and that you're comfortable riding. And as long
That's
as you
it.
can enjoy the sport, then hey.
That's it. We always want new machines. Every time I turn around, I'm like, "Ooh, a new machine coming. Let's go get it."
Yeah, I know. There's just always they just never look as good as the second you take them off the showroom floor. But uh,
Right. Right.
funny thing about that. Um, Well, that's awesome. As like anything else you want to like spread the word on, or do you have like any upcoming rides or next event?
We're trying to plan some rides right now.
Mhm.
I do automotive stuff, so I guess car show conflicts and things like that with the hot rods that I build. But we really want to look at, like Father's Day. We're going to do a little ride probably. But throughout the summer here, we're going to try and plan some stuff and really really push it. Things have been a little slow going this year because of
Mm.
COVID, and we got 4 inches of snow today, so that kind of messes up a game plan as
Yeah,
well. So,
right.
but getting maintenance done and really getting out on the trails and trying to incorporate more people in. It's a big deal.
Okay, that's great. So where can people go to find information on upcoming rides, and where would be the best place for them to go?
Our website, atv-traction.com, kind of lists out where we're at. And then our Facebook page, we're working more and more with that. That's a good way to get with us. There's links on our website to email myself, and I try to check it pretty much daily, um, and get out and get people involved, so to speak.
Right, right. That's great. Well, thank you, Phil, very much for your time today. I know you got a lot going on there, but I appreciate your time and sharing the message. And uh, hopefully, I can get over that way one day to check out those trails. They sound awesome.
They are. We have some fantastic trails and some fantastic people in the club that really make it a great time. I thank you very, very much.
You're very welcome. You have a great day.
Yep, you too. Thank you.